So was that a sluice in your pocket, or are you just happy to see me? Uh, it's a sluice. What's going on, prospectors? Stop staring at my crotch. This is Dig Daddy, and my face is up here. But we got a special episode for you here today. We're not running Pater. Well, we're running Pater, but what we're really doing is we're reviewing some gear today. Now, I received a package from old Prospectors Dream. They sent out some goodies to help me celebrate, and we're gonna check some stuff out. I got a couple of these pocket sluices. We're gonna rig them up here in the shed, run a little dirt down the way, and see what kind of gold we can recover. Now, the DreamMat, in my opinion, is a tried and true design. It's a very nice setup. Low flow is all it needs. Low angle, and it works really, really well. Catches the gold great for what I do here in the shed. Out in the field, I hear a lot of great things about the recovery people get. And so I saw this little device that they came out with a while back, their pocket sluice. And I've been wanting to check one out for a while, but I haven't really had a need because I have a full-size sluice here in the shed that we normally have set up. And so I kind of passed it by, but I thought, let's check it out, because some of you guys out there may not have a setup like I have. And you might be looking for something that's going to work well for you, but not break the bank because you're just looking to run a little bit of pay dirt. And I think these things are great. Maybe not so much this one, but definitely this one. Just because for this one, it's kind of the more size you're going to want to use out at the river. But in my opinion, it seems a little bit small for use out there, though I'm sure some people have found. But I'll guess this is more for just spot testing than anything else. I certainly wouldn't want to run my material through one of these all day long, a teaspoon at a time. But it's great for just shoving in your pocket and taking out with you instead of having to backpack a whole full-size sluice out there. So I can definitely see the benefits to that if you're packing really light and you just need to have something. There you go. You got yourself a little pocket sluice. You can run some material without a big to-do. And when you're ready to go home, dip out your cons, pop that baby in your pocket, and you're good. So there, I can see some value there, but personally, like I say, if I'm going out to the river, I'm going to want to take a little bit bigger of a rig just so I can run more material just that much faster. But don't dismiss it as far as a field tool, because there's definitely some value there. But today we're really going to focus on the micro pocket sluice, because this one is the one that we're going to use more here in the shed or in your backyard, in your garage, and wherever you have your setup, wherever you have your little mini wash plant, that's where you're going to want to use one of these bad guys. So what these ones are, they're a little bit smaller, and I wish they weren't. I wish they were at least the same size or maybe a little bit longer on the back end just to give a bigger ramp. But what you got here is a small section of micro sluice. Let me turn the light on here, get some proper lights on so y'all can see it well. We got your micro sluice, the same as we use in the setup here in the shed, just a little bit smaller. Full silicone unit, you know, nothing to have to set it in or clamp it down. This is your sluice. Kind of makes me wonder why they don't just make a bigger version. Make the whole thing bigger and forget all the aluminum, right? But this is what we got. We're going to rig this up over here in the tub, and we're going to run ourselves some dirt. I got some gold set aside. I have 1 gram that I have pre-weighed out. We're going to run that down the sluice, see how much of it catches on the first time through. And then that'll let us know if this is something that we want to use here in the shed, or we're just going to pass up. Now, I set my sluice at a 10-degree drop. 15 is a little bit too high and too heavy for it. And the pump that I'm going to be using here, I believe, is only a 200 gallon per hour aquarium pump that I had rigged up years and years ago when I used the old sluice rig, the 12-inch run, 12 by 3. So what this essentially is replacing for me in my setup would be something like this. One of these little 12 by 3-inch sluices. They run about 20 bucks on eBay, plus another 5 bucks for the VMAT. They're a little bit big, and I mean, they definitely work. It's not 100% catch on the gold, and it's very simplistic. But that's what we used to use. This is going to use the exact same rig that we used when we used this one, but we're going to be using it with the little mini DreamMat. So let's go check that out. I'll show you a couple pictures, give you a rundown up close of what everything looks like. And let's see if we can make this thing find us some gold. So stick around, and we'll be right back. All right, welcome back. So what we've got here is our good old tub setup and the old school dump tray or crash box or whatever you want to call it. Now, the way I have this set up is this itself can move back and forward. If this goes all the way back, it'll give it a good firm seating across no matter how far up I want to move it. Now, I have it set at a 10-degree angle. We'll double check that real quick just to be sure we're on. All right, you can see we got it all set at a nice 10-degree angle. And we're ready to roll. Now, I can adjust the water based on how I feel it needs to be flowing. That's going to be pretty subjective. Making sure we got enough water flow going through the sluice, not too much that we're blowing anything out. Now with this setup, I can just slide the sluice back or forward to determine how much water I want to go down the sluice. The further I slide it back, the more water it diverts around the edge, and it's not going to go down the sluice. So I definitely have options here. If I wanted to go full, just pull it forward and make it nice and tight. Now, the only thing I really think I dislike so far that I see is the length of the little sled area here, the dump area. If it was a little bit bigger, you could run a little bit more material a little bit faster because you could pour more in there. As is, you're going to be going teaspoon to teaspoon to teaspoon. Now, I have a gram of gold that I pre-weighed out. I'm going to dump that in some pay dirt. And we'll see how much of it we get back from running it down the sluice. Got our pay dirt. In we go. There's some fines, there's some mediums, a little bit of everything in here. Try to make it as natural replicating as possible. We'll stir this around a little bit to get it all nicely mixed in. Now there is exactly 1 gram of gold tucked away in this dirt. So let's see how much we're going to get back. Now, full flow is a little bit much for me, so I'm going to slide it back just a little bit to slow it down. Again, I like to run a little bit slower flow. It does mean that the cells get filled up a little bit faster, but it also means that the gold's going to have more opportunity to drop. Now, it's really important with DreamMat that when you get your water going, you take a look at what's going on in these cells. Because what's going on in these cells right now is they're full of air bubbles. And what that's going to mean is gold may use those as a cushion to just roll right out of the sluice. So some people will take a brush, some people will take some sand and pre-fill them. I just squirt them with some water to make sure there's no air in there. Once it looks good, we're ready to go. All right, let's do this. All right, gold on the first scoop. The little unicorn logo up on top is serving as a bit of a catch in its own. You can see a piece of gold stuck right there at its neck. Let's keep going. So far, so good. Now, I don't necessarily think I'd like this longer to put more material in there, but as you can see, a healthy scoop is going to dump out really close to that far edge. Doesn't give you a whole lot of room to dump your dirt out into. So it gives you a pretty small target zone. So far, so good. I'm seeing these cells filling up with gold. All the pieces it's caught have gotten caught within this first couple inches. Now, the gold that went in here was 1.005 grams of gold is what we initially put in here. And so far, it's looking like I think we're going to get all of that back. Seeing some fine gold in there already. Some nice chunks. We're right down to there as far as where it's being caught. And I think that's just because the cells above it are already full. Now the pay dirt that I opted to use here is just some of that Roaring Camp tailings from the Monday night show. It was already in the tub and wet, so I figured let's reseed it up. We already cleaned all the gold out of it on Monday, and that's on its way out to one of you guys. But I figured let's put that dirt to use, put some gold back in it, and give it a second lease on life. Alright, that's it. It's looking nice, so let's cut the water so we don't blow any of the gold out. And let's get a closer peek. So this is what it's looking like so far. And we only see gold up to about this point. So just the first 5 riffles, which is pretty consistent with what I see on the big mat. DreamMat makes it all drop right at the beginning. So you should never really see. If you see gold way down here at the end, even on these little ones, you got 2 problems. You're either running your water too fast or you're running your mat too steep. Because this is where your gold should be. So these guys that have like these big long runs, they got to be working some hard material because DreamMat catches way up here. But yeah, let's dump this out in the pan it out, weigh it up, see what we got. Don't go anywhere. All right, so first things first, getting this out when you got a setup like this, super easy. Grab it, squeeze it, and pull it out. We're out. To clean this baby up, flip her upside down. What water is in there will do most of the initial work. After that, just rinse her out. If you have a tub tall enough that has enough water in it, you can dunk it. But this mat is so small that there shouldn't be much issue for you to just squirt it out. Give it a little squirt. Get your gold. It looks like everything. Alright, dirt fans, welcome back. We got our dried up gold, got the scale fired up, we got the DreamMat dancers standing by. There's no dancers here. I wish they sent dancers too, that'd be great. And there you have it. 1.000. oh, excuse me, 1.003 grams of gold. So what that's telling me is we lost a total of 0.002 grams of gold over the mat. We did recover it because I believe those are what those flakes in here are going to wind up adding to the weight. So that is really, really close to 100% recovery, and I am extremely happy with that performance. For such a small mat, that's pretty damn good. Now, we'll switch view here, and I'll give you my official final words and ROI. But yeah, so far so good. That is a great recovery, considering that I've done absolutely nothing to fine-tune this setup. So, all right, we'll be right back. All right, welcome back. Man, what a good time. That little mat, excuse me, that little sluice did a great job recovering the gold. We put a gram in there, got a gram back. There's a couple flakes that it missed, but that may be more just due to the setup than anything else. Overall, even if the setup's perfect, I'll say losing 2 thousandths, 10 thousandths of a gram of gold out of that, you know, hey, that's not too bad. I could probably tweak the setup a little bit and make that 100% recovery, but what's that, 99.9999% is not too bad for a first time run. Actually, second time run, that was the second time I'd used that setup. So I haven't done a whole lot of fine tuning to it other than making sure that it was level and the degree. The water flow, totally guessing on, so I could probably try turning it down a little bit and maybe that'll help that gold to drop out. But overall, I think part of it is because there's not a lot of ramp here to break the material down before it hits the riffles. I think at first, if you put too much material, it's going to overload these riffles and gold has an opportunity to slide out of the sluice at that point. So I think what would probably help is if this were just a little bit longer, man, then this would just be a perfect product for a very small time prospecting tool. But even as is, it's a very functional, very useful device. You could probably build some sort of extension on there or build it out a little bit some way and make it even more functional. But as it is still a really great gold catcher. Again, we put a gram through it. We got a gram back. I can't complain. That's pretty damn good. So $20, prospectorsdream.com. The Gold Rat High Bankers is what they got printed on the side there. I think it's a win. It's an absolute win. I mean, when you consider a pocket sluice, this is pretty much what you're thinking, right? These little itty bitty, they're not even all that itty bitty. These are aluminum frame, 12 inches by 3 inches. This is not going in your pocket. You're going to have a hard time with this in your pocket. This, look at you could fit one of these, you could fit a couple of these, I bet you, inside of it. It's half the length. And the processing power is just so much worlds above the old drop, the V-riffle stuff, that this is obsolete. This is absolutely obsolete. For the same $20, you get yourself one of these guys, and you are set. Whether it be in your backyard, garage, or wherever you have your setup at home, or if you're just packing it light into the mountains and you only want to take a little shovel like this, and that's how you're going to prospect, then that works. If you're going out into the wilds, I always would recommend take a little bit bigger and more complete equipment, just because if you're going to put the effort into shoveling and that's what you're going for, then you probably want to move as much material as possible. That's the only limitation to these devices, is the amount of material you can process at once is a tablespoon. And that makes it a little bit harder to really bust through that material. It's just going to take a lot longer. So that's the only thing that would prevent me from using one of these out at the river. If I'm out at the river, I would probably want to use at least something like this, a 6x12 or a 6x16, with a nice ramp area that I can just shovel material into, a full scoop of this without worrying about loading the sluice. If you're like me and you want to run pay dirt in your backyard every weekend and you're just going to be processing all the time, it might be worth it to step up your game a little bit and get yourself a 6x16 micro mat and set up in a high banker like I have. But if you only got a little bit of space and you don't want to spend a whole lot of money on your setup, there you go. That's all you need. One of these, 20 bucks, 10 bucks for a water pump from a fish store, and then the hardware to hook it all up, and maybe a metal clothes hanger. I mean, it's too easy. So I would definitely recommend go check these out. ProspectorsDream.com. They're the Gold Rat High Banker. They come in the micro mini like this here, and they come in the full size like right here. So I do want to give a disclaimer that these were provided, not all of this stuff, but the micros, as well as another giveaway that we have, they were provided for review. And so these were given free of charge, so I didn't pay for them myself. And so I'm eventually going to pass these on to some of you in the community. But these were provided for review free of charge. So I do want to preface everything with that. But I honestly do believe, and I've been using DreamMat myself personally for a number of years, I stand behind the product because it's worked for me, and I think it'll work great for you. So go check them out. And I honestly, you'll be happy you did. If you don't already have a DreamMat in your life, get one and it will be complete. As a prospector, you need a DreamMat because we all need dreams. They're what make the world go around. They're our imagination, and that's how we get it going. So this is how we get it going in the gold. Get your gold. Get that shiny. This is Dig Daddy signing out from the shed. Thank you for joining me. Get your DreamMat. Get your gold. Peace.